Another short one here. So, as I mentioned before, we all share a mental and sorry, someone is scared. We all share a mental and somewhat physiological connection. We function like a separate muscle unified by a neurological connection, and that is that even though our bodies are separate, our shared comprehension, our shared perception creates a single brain that sort of organizes us all relative to one another. And as I mentioned in my last video, this physiological connection has its limitation, and that limitation itself can be communicated across a city, and even a state, even internationally as well. In that, everyone living in their own home is still within a proximity relationship, and accounting for businesses where everyone else where everyone can sort of connect. Like you got your grocery stores, your hospitals, your restaurants, your other places where most people frequent and get services. Now, what happens when two people are living together, even if they don't speak to one another or have immediate awareness, they have a proximity relationship in which, because they share the same environment, they share the same goal of maintaining local awareness and security of that environment. And so, even though these neighborhoods are spread out apart and the proximity of the relationship is distant, it is still very limited and very real in that there's this sort of idea called the passerby illusion, and that just because you don't know a person you're passing by in a city, you assume that you have no immediate physiological relationship with them. But oftentimes, even the people that you haven't met yet, they're only a couple of connections away from you. And what this represents is the idea that we all have this expanded opportunity, this expanded room, because we don't all know each other personally, is broken by the fact that we're in the same proximity of effect. Meaning, what affects the local environment affects everyone. And this is news, this is taboo, controversy, disease, any trends that are local, which can be caused by news from other places, all sorts of things. The whole point is that despite the idea that there's this expansion, this room that we all have, that we don't know each other and therefore we assume we don't affect each other within the muscle connection, excluding exports and imports, there is a very real limited physical relationship within a city that is constantly being maintained by everyone participating in real live time, even if they don't know each other. And this shared connection here will actually police us for ourselves to make the best decisions for the group as it maintains what's going on. Now, what's going on is this group works a lot like an immune system in that it's maintaining and policing the interactivity of its own reaction to life. And so it functions like an immune system that it always measures its interactivity with itself. Now, on the individual level, we all respond to the physiological concept of life. And in this response, we have a pretty basic relationship. Treat life good, get treated good by life. Now, the more individuals within a group respect this relationship and actually maintain a good response cycle with life, the healthier overall that the entire group, city, nation, or whatever is. And let me read some of this. Because each individual has a unique perspective and offers an opportunity for new and unique interaction with life that sparks consequences for the entire group, it means that these new ideas, these interactivities that are happening are caused because we as individuals, despite sharing a physiological connection, still react to our life on our own and develop our own consequences that then spread into the shared group's consequences. And this is what news is. This is what controversy. This is what all that stuff is. And so, because this is the relationship with life, most people, or there's a group of people, there's a trend of corruption, of people who get convinced that there is no judgment from life itself, that the character we get from life is entirely developed by people's opinions and not by whether or not you treat life the way it is. What these people are convinced of is that whether you're clean or not depends more on whether or not people see you as clean, or rather than whether you actually keep yourself clean without eyes judging you for it. And so what happens is these individuals that don't understand the basic relationship of life, that is, you treat life good, it treats you good, they start treating life wrong. Hold on, where's the representation at? They treat life wrong. And because they treat life wrong, it creates collisions with their own personal character. They don't understand that they're supposed to treat life like it's a real living thing, and so they develop a bad opportunity, a bad reputation, a bad personal relationship with life, and thus they go on to rely on the group. And what the group is the shared reaction to living. And so, because the group's overall reaction is good and healthy, these people go to rely on the group in different ways, and as a result become convinced that they don't need to have a specific personal good relationship with life, rather than they just need to rely on the systems that are developed by it. And so what happens over time is the shared group response is sort of drained by these individuals who develop these exploitive patterns of behavior. And that they think that if they keep up these basic patterns within the condition of relying on the group, that they'll always survive and get what they want. They start playing games of image, making things look a certain way rather than actually making them that way. Because they're convinced that so long as the group believes it's happening, then for all intents and purposes, they'll receive the good consequences of it. Now, what happens over time is that these people drain our shared response. Think about it like this. The more that you... How do I say this? Imagine life is like silly putty or something, and the more that you push into it, the more of a reaction you can see within the putty. That was the best, quickest example I could come up with. I'm sorry. So, because they are relying on the appearance of pushing into the putty and not actually pushing into the putty itself, it means that the people who are actually giving a real response to life, the more you do, the more you get back. What they're getting back is being drained by these exploitive individuals. And these are your kids. These are the teens, the 20-year-olds that haven't grown up yet. These are the guys that care more about how they look than how they are. These are the guys that are, I don't know, above the age of fucking 40 and still lying and stealing like little kids. I mean, that's really what this is. So, as a result, these individuals, because they never learn and they never adjust and they never realize that they have their own relationship with life that needs to be maintained without judgment, or else they can't develop their own true status with existence, they become convinced that life is unfair for the individuals who actually do maintain this relationship with life. And so they all start saying that it's not fair. They become jealous. They become hostile towards anyone who has this position. And what's going on here is, because these individuals are actually maintaining a fair and healthy relationship with life, there's a lot of space in contrast to these exploitive characters versus, versus these real characters that are developed by a real, honest, non-exploitive intention with life. And so these people all become convinced that it is okay to attack, to become hostile, to be jealous, to disturb, to interrupt the success and happiness of these individuals, under the idea and under the misconception that what they're doing is normal. It's absolutely not normal. It's wicked, it's unhealthy, it's corrupt. But because they can't see it any different, because they don't believe in the idea that what they do on their own creates a unique character for them outside of other people's judgment, they become convinced that these people who are actually getting that real response from life because they actually take it serious need to be given a harder life to make it fair. But the real truth is, these people are still doing exploits. They're still lying. They're still not respecting life, and thus they cannot develop their character. Think about it like this. Man, how can I put this? What is a good example other than life itself, man? The more you work out, the stronger you get. The less you work out, the weaker you are. These people are not working out their personal, individual relationship with life. And so, because they don't realize that that's what they need to do, they attack the people that are, under the impression that life is unfair for no fucking reason, and it's all chaos, and it's all madness, and there's this cold disresponsiveness from life. But the truth is, if these people would grow up and stop lying, stop stealing, and stop fucking exploiting everything that can't catch them, they would actually develop a real character. As you work out, the better your character becomes defined. The more that your character is real, regardless of what other people think about you, the lies that they tell, the rumors they develop. Your character stays real and defined regardless of how many of these people try to create a negative version of it. Now, all this being said, wait, hold on, let me read some of this. Okay, so here's what they're doing. At this level, they are... there's the social level. Okay, there's the basic orientation, which is pretty much everyone knows, and then there's the some people know, and then there's the only I know. Now, they're purposely only living within the only the everyone knows and only some people know, and they're not taking the only I know seriously. And the only I know is where they grasp the concept of their right to deserve a good life and can therefore create real arguments to continue receiving a good life. Like, notice, even though I'm dead-ended, even though I'm pretty much like getting killed here, I still have a relatively good situation. And what this is earned by is my specific relationship with life, not my social relationship with life. My own individual relationship with life has caused me to, even when I'm about to be stranded and fucking starved to death, that I am still within the conditions of a pretty good situation with the space that I have for my own interaction outside of everyone's choices towards me. Now, the whole video I'm telling you, the whole reason I made this is to sort of start breaking those illusions for these people because they need to understand something. So, the more that you interact with life, the more you develop that personal, worked out, defined relationship that defines you outside of anyone else's perception. As you become attacked by those individuals who aren't doing that, who are only living in everyone knows and some know, they are pretty much causing you hostility that, they're being hostile towards you that cuts you off and causes disturbances that are unfair for you. Now, as much as you can survive the cycle of this happening, because you have a greater relationship with life, because your reach is further, because you've actually worked out a real personal relationship with life, you can actually create arguments and demands with life itself to genuinely make life harder for those individuals attacking you. And it's not designed to make life harder, but it's to get rid of them. It's like, hey, I'm doing good here. These guys are attacking me. What the fuck is this? Why is this happening? And so in that situation, I can say my life is threatened, and I can demand that the individuals who are threatening it be removed simply because of these facts. They exploit, they kill the concept of success for anyone else other than them, and they stage and instigate bad caricatures to be shared to the social levels rather than on the personal, self-identified, self-confirmed, being honest with what's actually happening level. And so everyone's getting too old to be lying, everyone's getting too old to be exploiting these systems, and everyone's getting too old to not be realizing that your character is not developed by what people think, it's by your real reaction with the fucking life. Whether I put this fucking bottle in the trash can is not dependent on whether or not people think I do it. It's whether or not I actually do it. And you guys have not yet grasped that that relationship expands into every single thinkable category of existence. That you have to have your own measurement, your own reaction, your own reality. Because if not, then your character is defined by an opinion. So yeah, that's where we are. Just wanted to break some of those illusions, specifically the passerby illusion. Just wanted everybody to remember how connected we are physiologically, just so you guys can't convince yourselves that you're not affected by these next couple of moves.